Okay, when I started going through your papers today, I realized that in this particular activity, you were kind of making a distinction between the verb saber and conocer, which wasn't included in your particular chapter, but in this activity, a lot of you were writing sentences in as if the verb was saber. So I thought that I would go ahead and make a video and explain to you the difference. Saber is used when you talk about knowing a fact or information, when you express knowing a skill or how to do something. And it can often be followed by an infinitive, an interrogative word, or the word see, and see without the accent means if, because that's often information that follows it. Conocer means to know people or a place, and it basically means to be familiar with something or to be acquainted with something, and it's never followed by an infinitive or see. Okay, so up here, and I took this, I don't even know whose these are from, but these were some examples where you guys are using conocer as saber. It says, el país más interesante es México, la capital es la Ciudad de México, nosotros conocemos un poco. When you say de la cultura, you're saying like we know a little bit about the culture. That's knowing information. You would need to use the verb sabemos here to say it like that. Sabemos un poco de la cultura. Now, if I take the de out, I can use conocemos because what you're saying is we're familiar with a little bit of culture. Like we're acquainted with, we're it just that you've been that you're familiar with it, you don't know anything about it. But as soon as you say de, you needed to use saber. So conocemos un poco la cultura, meaning we're familiar with a little culture. Pero queremos conocer, we want to know more about la vida cotidiana. So here it says, pero queremos conocer la vida cotidiana. I put cotidiana in there. I think they just had life, but I was thinking it sounded better to say daily life. So we want to become familiar with the daily life. It's just a minor thing, but whenever you're using de implies information, you would want to use saber. So as soon as you take the de out, you guys are good. And that's the same thing down here. You're saying for Mexico, la comida es buena, the food is good. Well, that's knowing information. You would just say strictly, conozco la comida, like I'm familiar with the food, meaning I'm familiar with the types of food they have, not the quality of it. Knowing what the quality is saber. Quiero conocer la cultura, that's fine. Es I should have said, es una isla. But again, that would be knowing information. You'd still want to put something like, you know, I know la naturaleza, like I'm familiar with la naturaleza, or I'm familiar with la política, or what were some of the other things you guys had in your chapter? You had la política, las tradiciones, la música. And the same thing here, that football is big. That's knowing information about the country. For Spain, that would be saber. But because we're using conocer, you would have to put, I know the sports, meaning I'm familiar with what kinds of sports are there. But as soon as you know detailed information, like I know that football is big or it's very popular, that's saber. So hopefully that'll clear some of it up for you guys. Essentially, if you're using conocer, don't put the days. Don't put acerca, don't put sobre, because all of that implies information.